Alright guys, welcome back to another video where we are doing another tier list video for Path of Titans, and we're going to be doing it for every official dino that's in the game, which is about 30 dinos. We're going to rank them as far as 5 different categories. We have God tier, high tier, mid to low tier, and F tier. Now the last time we did a tier list video in this game was about 9 months ago, and a lot has changed from now till then. So a lot of my opinions have changed as well on a lot of the dinosaurs. Some got better, some got worse. And remember, this is just my opinion, so if you disagree with any of these choices, let me know in the comments your choice and what you think dinosaurs should be ranked. But first, let's start with the Amargasaurus. So when it comes to the Amargasaurus, if you asked me this about a few weeks ago, I would have said he's probably mid to low tier. But as of a few days ago, they did do another update and they changed a few things. And for the Amargasaurus, he now has the area of effect damage. So what that means is basically before, he had it to where he has a stomping attack, but they have to be under him in order for his stomping to connect. Now with the new area of effect damage, when he stomps, it'll damage anyone that's around him in the radius. Area of effect damage is going to be huge for the Amargasaurus, so I'm going to keep him at mid tier now instead of mid to low tier. Now the Alberta always been a solid dino all around. I never really heard any complaints of him being OP or underpowered. I feel like he's in that sweet spot, so we're also going to put him mid tier as well. He is actually not that bad and pretty good when you compare him to other dinos. Now when it comes to the Iguanodon, I know they improved his stamina a little bit. He used to have the fastest and worst stamina drain in the game out of every dino. But they did improve his stamina by at least 60%, so his stamina drain is actually not that bad anymore. And with the recent update that just came out, I think last weekend, they did give him a new moveset as well, and they gave him a new ability to do a back kick. And this is a rear kick that causes high damage. But with that being said, is the Iggy still considered good? Personally, I'm going to put him mid to low tier. I still think he's just not as good as the other dinos. Now when it comes to the Kentro, he's pretty basic, but he's also pretty decent. I mean, he has good reflective damage, meaning when dinosaurs bite you, they end up taking bleed effect because of all the spikes you have on you. They did also give him the lone survivor ability, which makes him increases his armor and maneuverability when he's solo. So those can be fairly good as well. But in the life of me, after a year of playing this game, I don't think I ever died to a Kentro. No matter what dino I was, I could be a Campto, and I don't think a Kentro killed me ever. I think they're decent. They have very good stamina, good speed, but we're going to put them mid to low tier. So the Cerrado got a pretty decent update. After the Night Stalker update, they did change a few things on him. We went over it in a video if you guys want to check that out. The one thing I hate that they did was remove his bone break. He used to have bone break and they basically removed it, I think for like a charge bite or heavy bite, something like that. But they took away his bone break to where you can't bone break any smaller dinos anymore, which was probably my favorite thing to do because he was so fast and agile. So being able to bone break other creatures your size really came in handy during PvP situations. But with that being said, even after that change, is he still mid-tier? Is he high tier or mid to low? Now I'm going to be a little biased here because like I said, I really love the bone snap ability and I'm mad they changed it. So we're going to put him to mid to low tier. Don't get on me too bad in the comments now. I know you probably guys are going to say high tier or mid tier, but mid to low tier, I'm going to have to put him there. Now the duck has always been one of the strongest herbivores in the game. Very high combat weight, even though I think they nerfed it a little bit. He's semi-aquatic, so he's pretty decent speed on land and really good speed in water. He has high HP and overall really high clawing attack damage. I'm going to have to put the duck in high tier. I think he's definitely very solid all around, and I think he deserves that spot. Next up, we have the Campto, F tier. So the Struthi is one of the fastest dinos in the game with 1400 sprinting speed, very good stamina, good for traveling, good for recon, good for a lot of different things. Obviously not PvP that much, but everything else though, I think he's a very solid mid tier. I think the speed is very good. It comes in handy during a lot of different situations. And normally I would put him mid to low tier, but because he is the fastest dino in the game, I'm going to put him in at mid tier. So the Lambio was always pretty average, you know, nothing special. The main thing that made him stand out from the others was that he had a healing call that can heal him and his teammates a lot faster, essentially making him like the medic of the group. His really main attack was a tail attack, and his tail attack used to be really good because he can do it repeatedly with a significant amount of damage. But with the recent update over the past weekend, they did give him a new front kick ability that he can use while running. Although that's a little good added moveset, I don't know if that really makes him any better than what he was before. So I'm going to put him in the mid to low tier category, but leaning towards more mid tier, but I don't think he's a solid mid. I think he's more mid to low. So the Latin is definitely very fast, also another one of the fastest dinos in the game. But when it comes to just everything about it, as far as his moveset and just everything else, I mean, it's just nothing special, easy to overlook. Normally I would put him in the F tier with the Campto, but because I don't want you guys thinking I'm just putting all the ankle biters in the F tier, I'm going to put him in the mid to low tier, but leaning more towards low tier. I just don't really think he's anything special. So normally the Deinonychus would be in the same boat as the other ankle biters in the lower categories, but because of this new ability that he now has called Slicer, it's where he bites another dino and he automatically gets an edible meat chunk from the target, which means, let's say for example, he goes and bites an aloe. After he bites the aloe, he would automatically take a chunk of meat off of the aloe, essentially giving him free food. So if you see a couple dinos battling or a dino laying down, all you have to do is go sneak in a bite and boom, you have yourself a piece of meat that you could run away and eat. The reason why I think this is so good, because imagine if you have some of these guys with you in packs. They could pretty much go bite some other dinos, grab the meat chunks off of them, and bring them back to you so you can eat it without having to get involved in PvP situations. Hopefully that made sense. So we're definitely going to put him in the solid mid tier. He's definitely good. If they had a mid to high tier, I'll put him there, but he's definitely good for survival purposes. So the DASP had quite a journey in this game. When it first got released, it was very strong, considered OP, and then it got basically nerfed to the ground. And then after the Night Stalker update, they did make him a lot better. He's definitely way better at PvP and just better in a lot of situations. Normally before I would put him mid to low tier, but I think he now deserves the high tier spot, because he's definitely a very, very good carnivore now after the last update. Now, I always had mixed feelings about the Spino in this game specifically. I just thought he was very weak compared to how strong he should have been with his size. He has the very, very slow turning radius, horrible stamina on land especially, and his swimming speed is not that fast. I found myself, when I try to do water PvP, hard to fight with him. Hard to land your claw attacks because his arms are so short, but I don't think he's the worst dino in the game either. So I think he's a solid mid-tier, but that's about it. Nothing special about him, in my opinion. So the Suko, I always hated from the jump. I just thought he looked very weird. I didn't think he was good at all compared to the other semi-aquatics. I feel like they just easily killed him out of the water, especially the Sarcos. But the Suko did go a lot of changes to his moveset to that last update. He actually got a new look as well, which makes him look more badass and intimidating. Now, is he high tier or mid tier? I'm gonna lean more towards high tier. I think now he's definitely a force to be reckoned with. He's more challenging when it comes to versing them in PvP, and that's mainly because of some of the new abilities that they did give him during the Night Stalker update. Now, the Meg can be the biggest nuisance in this game. They come out of nowhere, they're semi-aquatic, they do a good amount of venom and actually a decent amount of damage. They're very fast and evasive. The only bad thing I would say is their stamina is not that great, but Meg is one of the funnest creatures to play and the coolest looking creature to play in my opinion. And after the recent update this past weekend, they are looking to improve a lot of the dinos that have venom attacks and make the venom more useful. That's going to make the Meg even more threatening to deal with. So I'm also going to have to put the Meg in high tier. Some of you might disagree. You either might say mid-tier or high tier, but there's no way that he should go any lower than mid-tier. He's definitely very solid. So man, another one that's been through it is the Sarco. They pretty much nerfed him like crazy. Nerfing his HP basically all the way down to 480. That's less health than a Campto. But they did give him a new ambush attack, which does a lot of damage when you first attack somebody out of combat. But the second you're in combat, you become vulnerable with that low health. So unless you're really good at evading and underwater PvP, you can find yourself in some trouble. If you asked me this before they nerfed him, I would have said he was definitely a solid high tier. But now we're going to lower him and we're just going to put him mid tier. You know, he's still pretty good, but definitely not as good as he was. So the Trike has been through it as well. He took a lot of nerfs. He took some buffs. And essentially, he's still very, very strong. The only thing if I don't like about him is probably his stamina. The worst, probably one of the worst staminas I've ever seen. His stamina recovery is super slow. And when he uses his sharpened horns, which increases his attack damage, it also takes away an automatic 50% of his stamina. So if you ever use sharpened horns, just expect to be hit with a lot of stamina drain immediately. Now, because of the recent update last weekend, he now does area of effect damage as well, and his stomp attacks are now more useful than they were before, essentially making him a little bit better. He does have 800 HP with 6500 combat weight, which is also pretty solid. He just has really bad stamina. We're gonna put him mid tier, but just pretend we're putting him in mid to high tier, but I definitely don't think he's a solid high tier as of right now. The Dilasso is the only official flyer in the game. They have some modded ones, but he's the first and only official flyer as of right now. They do have more planned for the future. Now, where would I put the Dilasso? Now, when I did the Is It Worth Growing for the Dilasso, we did do some PvP, and I did find that quite fun. The only issue is, if you fly too low, and let's say you land at the dinosaur's legs, they can trample you very easily. But if you're good with the Dilasso PvP, you can hover above people, hit them without getting hit, fly above when you need stamina, and land in high places. And let's not forget, traveling is so much easier, and he is semi-aquatic as well. So this is kind of a tough one. I don't know if he's really considered high tier. You know, when you think of high tier dinos, you don't think of the Dilasso. That's not the first thing that comes to your mind. So we're gonna put him definitely a solid mid tier. So the Styra did get a new ability as well. He now has a head blocking ability that pretty much protects his upper body, so his head and his arms. That can be really useful if you get face tanked by anybody or just want to block some incoming damage and you know, do what you got to do. He does have decent abilities as well, a decent attack damage also. And I think because of the new head blocking ability he has, it just makes him a lot better for combat situations. And I'm going to have to put him in the high tier section. So the Concave has always been pretty solid. You know, he is a semi-aquatic, very fast in water, very fast on land, decent stamina drain and recovery, and very good in packs. He did get a new move or ability after the last update this weekend, and that is a ripping kick, which is where he lunges forward with his claws and it causes bleeding damage. Now imagine getting jumped by like 5 conchs that are all doing that ripping kick on you, just bleeding you out like crazy. Also able to escape when needed because of their fast speed and go into the water when necessary. The only bad thing I would say is they probably have one of the lowest HPs in the game, so you have to be careful of that. But they're definitely a threat, and I'm gonna have to put the conch, this is tough. Okay, we're gonna put the conch high tier for sure, especially in packs. You do not want to go against these in packs, and then you'll see what I'm talking about. So the Metri's always been pretty solid. You know, they did give him a few changes. They're now making, like I said earlier, they're making Venom attacks a lot better now. So now Venom would be a lot more effective for the Meg and the Metri. Venom essentially stops a dino's stamina from regenning or draining it faster. Like I said, stamina is one of the most important things in this game, especially if you're trying to fight. So Venom's going to be a major problem for people in the future, so that definitely makes him really pretty solid. I honestly don't see many cons to the Metri, so I'm going to have to put him with the conch up here as high tier, but mostly mid to high tier, but we're just going to set him more to the high tier category. So I might get some hate for this one. I know he's the first ever official aquatic, but he does not really impress me at all, and he's going to be joining the Campto in F tier in my opinion. I'm so sorry, but he's F tier. So you guys know, if you watch my videos, how I feel about the bars. I think he's very good. The highest combat weight in the game, the highest HP in the game, with a very strong tail slam, and he now has a headbutt attack that does knockback, essentially protecting the front side and your strong tail protecting your backside. He's very tanky, very good. He's going to be the first one to go into the God tier section. Now, I know some may disagree with that, but there's no way that the bars is lower than high tier. Now, a lot of you guys comment on my videos. I see all the comments, and you guys say the Packy is OP, he needs to be nerfed, he needs to be stopped. And after I did that Packy PvP video, which you guys can go check out, I think he is so much fun and very evasive, very fast, and just, he's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, he's pretty decent. I underestimated him when he first got released, but as I played him more, I liked him. I'm gonna say high tier. The Aloe is still very disappointing for me. We did a PvP video with him as well, and it just wasn't impressive. It was my first ever dino I grew in this game that I ever, first dino I made a video on when I made Path of Titans. He started off my whole Path of Titans career pretty much, but I don't know what they're doing. They're just not making him better. He's definitely going to be mid to low tier. Yeah, I can't put him any higher than that. Which the Pycno is also pretty good. I kind of compare it to the Packy. I know they got released at the same time. They both have charging abilities with some knockback abilities as well. Now, some of you guys commented on my Is It Worth Growing for the Pycno and said that he's a god. Some said he was trash. I'm gonna, split the middle here and say he's just solid mid-tier. Nothing crazy, nothing special. Just regular mid-tier dino. And now we have the big boy, the T-Rex. Is the T-Rex still the biggest in the game, the best in the game? I'm going to say no. They nerfed the hell out of the T-Rex every chance they get. And they did give him a new ability, though, within the last update, which is a voice call called Deep Rumble, which pretty much increases your defense for a certain amount of time. But is that enough to cover what... Because they nerfed his HP, they nerfed his combat weight, all essentially making him weaker. I don't see him as the biggest threat anymore. We're going to put a mid to low tier. I'm sorry, but until they make the Rex good again, he's going to be on the low ranking board. I'm going to put the Stego in God tier, bro. He's just a beast. He has a very strong set of tail attacks. He has good bleed. He has a pivot ability that makes him precise turn faster while in place. And that essentially lets him defend himself against packs and getting jumped. He can deal a lot of damage, and I don't really see much negative to him. If you guys disagree with that, let me know where you think the Stego would go. But the Stego is one of the best herbs in the game, in my opinion. And the Alioram is alright, He also has one of the lowest HPs in the game. He does have decent speed. I think he's the second fastest dino in the game, which is pretty good. I never been a fan of the Alioramus in this game. I just don't think he's really that good. I'm gonna have to put a mid to low tier for sure. And then finally, the last dino on this list is the Anno. Now, I'm conflicted to where to place him because I seen your guys' comments on the Anno. Some of you guys say he's so brokenly OP. Some of you say he's trash and he's easy to outmaneuver and kill in PvP. It depends on skill. It's skill issue, pretty much. It all depends on the person's skill. But with that being said, if we go over the Anno itself, he does have solid HP. He has very high damaging tail attacks with some good bone break as well. If you're foolish enough to get caught in his bone break, you would be very vulnerable and his tail slam would do so much damage to you. His hunker down ability is his baby. That's where he basically becomes invincible to a lot of other dinos. I've seen an Anno take on like 3 T-Rexes at one time. Granted, they were stupid for still attacking him while he was hunkered down, but because he was hunkered down, he was able to really not take any damage, use his tail slam, and wipe out the whole group. We are going to put him up in God tier. Now, maybe he should go in high tier, but, I don't know. I seen Annos do some crazy shit in this game, and I just have to put him in the God tier category. And guys, that is it. That is the whole tier list. Hopefully, you guys agree with some of my placements. If not, I would love to hear in the comments below your opinion on which dino you think belongs in which group. Sometimes this is hard because, it takes a lot of factors when it comes to certain dinos. There's a lot of stuff to factor in. As far as like stamina, combat weight, traveling, PvP, non-PvP, playing solo versus being in a group, it all really depends. So when I make these tier lists or these ranking videos, it does get tricky. So I know everyone's going to have different opinions and I want to hear it down below. But that's it for this video. Hit that thumbs up if you want to see more ranking videos like this, or if you just enjoyed the video, and make sure you subscribe for more Path of Titans content, and I'll see you guys next time.